Eric set a 5-minute static apnea personal best, and there was only one thing that we changed about it. Eric is a member of the underwater squad. He was hypoxic at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Hypoxic means that you are low on oxygen, blue lips, so that's almost towards a blackout, right? And he asked me, Gert, how can I hold my breath longer when I'm already getting hypoxic at 4:30? So we changed one thing, and in only one session, Eric went from 4:30 to 5 minutes breath holds. What did he do? Let's talk about this. If you're new to this channel, my name is Gert Leroy. I'm a freediving instructor and coach, a former national record holder. And on this channel, I have helped thousands hold their breath longer. And now I've helped Eric hold his breath for 5 minutes. What did he do? So let's take a look at what he writes here. Before he set his 5-minute PB, 4:30 PB, the current pre-Gert. So pre-Gert is before he came into the underwater squad, before he was coached by me, static apnea. So he was basically getting hypoxic at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, important to know is that he wasn't realizing that there was something that he was doing that was actually getting him into that hypoxic state. So if you're familiar with breathe ups, and if you're watching this video, then I assume you are. So we can do tidal breathing or we can do mild hyperventilation. We never do hyperventilation for freediving vertically or horizontally, but for static apnea only, you can do mild hyperventilation. Now, just because you can do it, that doesn't mean that you should do it. So Eric was doing mild hyperventilation, and that was, of course, the reason why he was getting hypoxic. Now, that doesn't mean because you're doing mild hyperventilation that you will get hypoxic. It all depends on you, of course, on how well you are trained for this. So in this particular case, Eric was getting hypoxic, blue lips on the 4-minute 30 breath holds, doing this mild hyperventilation, and he didn't know why. So sometimes you can get stuck into your own routines, and you can get stuck in the things you've been doing for a long time, and you don't see what for other people or for a coach like me is so obvious. Of course, if you get hypoxic, the one thing that you have to do is ventilate less. So ventilation is breathing. So if you do mild hyperventilation, you are ventilating, you are breathing too much. So then you should breathe less. So I told him, why don't you stop doing the mild hyperventilation? And why don't you try just tidal breathing and see how that goes? Now, while this might sound obvious for some people, for more advanced freedivers, sometimes it is not obvious at all if you have been in your same routine for a long time, and then you just need someone else to pinpoint this and to say, hey, this is what you're doing wrong, and that's why you are hypoxic. So it's not just about knowing what to do, it's as a coach also knowing on how to get a person out of their routine, out of their world, out of their bubble of what they think is right, and bring it in such a way that they're actually open to try something new. So thank you, Eric, for being open to my advice and for trying something new, because I knew when I was asking you to do tidal breathing instead of the mild hyperventilation, this would be a huge change in the way you think about static. So the job of a coach, knowing what to do and bringing it in such a way that your student actually wants to do it, that's a whole other thing, because we freedivers, we are all pretty much, let's be honest, right? We are all pretty much in our own worlds, and we have decided that this is how we have to do things. And then when someone else, even when it's a coach, shows you another way or asks you to do things in another way, that might actually be very, very difficult for a student. So as coaches, we have to be a bit careful with this, and we have to bring this in a way that is acceptable for a student. Eric, he executed my advice perfectly. So let's see what he says here. 5 minutes and 3 PB. Today is a 10 to beat this milestone. So yeah, psychologically a 5-minute breath hold, big milestone, of course. So it's not just about training your body and your mind for those 5 minutes. It's about reaching that particular milestone. And that alone adds stress, right? So you wanna hold your breath for those 5 minutes. So dry with a nose clip. So let me take you through his warm-up protocol, because that might be interesting for you. So warm-up, 5 minutes of tidal breathing. Hold until the first contraction. So the first breath hold is until the first contraction. That was 2 minutes and 40 seconds until the first contraction. Then the second warm-up, 4 minutes tidal breathing. Hold until the fifth contraction. And that was 3 minutes and 30 seconds until the fifth contraction. Me personally, I like this warm-up. I didn't tell him to do it this way, so this is his own way of warming up, and I think it's fantastic. First breath hold till the first contraction, second breath hold till the fifth contraction. Perfect. And then on the third attempt, he does his maximum attempt, so 4 minutes tidal breathing, and then 3 deep breaths. So what are deep breaths? We call these purges in the underwater squats. So these are just a bit of bigger breaths before you take your final breath, something like this. That was 1 deeper breath. We also call this sighs. And the reason of this is because it feels good. And right before you take your final breath, if you take 1 or 2 or even 3 of those deeper breaths, it really gives you a good feeling. Is this hyperventilation? Well, theoretically, you would say that a deeper breath, yeah, that would be hyperventilation. But if it's only a couple of breaths, we cannot classify this as hyperventilation, so that's fine. So maximum hold, contractions started around 3:30. So 3:30, first contraction, and then he holds his breath until 5 minutes. So that means 1 minute and 30 seconds on contractions, 3 minutes and 30 seconds without contractions. There is more to get out of here, but it's already fantastic 5 minutes. But with a little bit of CO2 training, he can do more contractions, more time under contractions. I could handle them repeating a Buddhist mantra. So a mantra is just a sentence that you keep on repeating over and over again. We don't do this in the beginning of the breath hold because that's a relaxation phase and then you want to just visualize and think about happy things. But when the contractions start, and especially when they kick in faster and harder, so towards the end of the breath hold, using mantras, repeating mantras inside of your head is a very good strategy to just keep the focus. So he says a sentence is 8 to 10 seconds. If it would be too long for you, you can repeat a shorter sentence. So one of the things that I like to say to myself when I go into hard contractions is, I can do it. I can do it. I can do this. I can do this. Little variation. I can do it. I can do this. It doesn't matter. I can do this. I can do this. You got this. You got this. You got this. And I just keep on repeating that. So mantras can be very, very helpful at this last stage of the breath hold. It helped a lot. I managed to hold until 5 minutes. Perfect. Thanks to Gert, I realized, this is important, guys. Thanks to Gert, well, not that it's thanks to me, but this one, I realized that at this stage, there is no need for hyperventilation. So let me get back to what I said in the beginning of this video. As a coach, it's sometimes difficult to bring a person out of their bubble and try to have them do other things. It's not so much about what exactly they have to do. It's more about basically asking them to stop believing in what they think is right and give another approach a try. So now Eric understands that at this stage where he is now, he does not need hyperventilation. And the fact that he can hold his breath for 5 minutes without hyperventilation is just a proof of this. He can. So his body and his mind is perfectly ready to hold his breath for 5 minutes without hyperventilation. So if you can do it without hyperventilation, there is no need for hyperventilation. With the tidal breathing, there were no signs of hypoxia, so no blue lips, and the recovery is fine. This sounds all fantastic to me. That means that there is more room for improvement. Nobody says that he has to stick with tidal breathing. So as he will hold his breath longer in the future, he can go back to some mild form of hyperventilation. Depends on how he reacts to it. But for now, if he can hold the breath without mild hyperventilation, I would do it without, because he's training his CO2 tolerance better. And it also gives him an enormous mental boost if you know that you can do this without mild hyperventilation. Another excellent guideline from our sensei, bang, 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 Muay Thai. Less is more in terms of warm-up and preparation. Less is more in terms of warm-up and preparation. So the fact that he got hypoxic might also be amplified by the fact that he was doing more warm-ups. So the more warm-ups you do, the faster you will get hypoxic. And that's why some people do no warm-up free dives or no warm-up static apnea breath holds. Because if you don't do a warm-up, then your hypoxic threshold will come later. So the more warm-ups you do, the more tired you are already, and the faster you will get into hypoxia. So in his particular case, it was mild hyperventilation, but also the fact probably he was doing too many warm-ups. Keep in mind, guys, that this was a 4:30 to 5, so that's already a pretty advanced breath holds in the underwater squat. We train all levels from beginner to guys like Eric who already hold their breath for 4 minutes. So if you want to add 30 to 90 seconds to your breath hold in 1 month, and that's exactly what we do inside the underwater squat, go to skool.com/underwater squat. You get the complete training system, live trainings with replays, and a worldwide community to keep you consistent. Click the link in the description, skool.com/underwater squat. And if you want to see another video of one of our members, Matt, who also set a PB in the underwater squat, then click this video here. Peace and every breath.